All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start out by giving all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well. Peace and blessings and citations to the hopeful elect, the Bayat Dawadah, the house of David. All right, so we're just going to jump right into this here. All right, now I didn't really want to go and read, far into this here article, which a lot of brothers have brought this article out. We don't give a damn about reparations up here. You see, our reparations is gonna come when Yahweh Shai returns and he set up here the kingdom here on earth. Okay, so we don't give a damn about some. We don't care. All right, we don't care about some damn paper fiat currency money or whatever the case may be. 40 acres and a mule, all that madness. All right, we don't give a damn about that. All right, you see. So let's read some of this. We ain't gonna read a lot. I'm just gonna read the first couple a little bit. Right, as you can see, the title: UN resolution urges reparations for slavery, historical wrongs. Okay, so let's read this. Let's just read the beginning. Okay, it says a resolution spearheaded by Ghana received 123 votes in favor. 3 countries, Argentina, Israel, and the United States, voted against, and 52 abstained. You see, and obviously we know that they were going to vote against it because they're our enemies, man. Argentina is set up by the small hats. Israel is the small hats, right? They got a small hat set up in Argentina. In the United States, of course not. Babylon the Great, of course not. All right, Israel, of course not, because these so-called these tiny tops are going to continue to push the narrative that they are the true biblical Israelites, which they are not. Okay, they are not. All right, the prophecies do not fit them, and neither will it fit them, and they are going into slavery. All right, you see. So without further ado. I don't really want to read. Let's just read this down here. It says stolen, shackled, shipped. All right. For more than 400 years, millions of people were stolen from Africa, put in shackles, and shipped to the New World to toil in cotton fields, in sugar and coffee plantations under scorched heat and the crack of the whip. You see, denied their basic humanity and even their own names. They were forced to endure generations of exploitation with repercussions and reverberate today, including persistent anti-black racism and discrimination. Okay, so it says the resolution emphasized the trafficking of enslaved Africans and radicalized chattel enslavement of Africans, which we're not Africans, we're Israelites. Okay. But I'm just reading it all verbatim. We're Israelites. We're Hebrew Israelites. All right? It says the gravest crime against humanity. It wasn't against humanity. It was against the Israelites. Okay? Our brothers from the northern kingdom were already over here. But we're talking about coming from when we came from the west coasts of Africa. You see? Okay? And they enslaved our brothers that were over here in the northern kingdom. Right? The so-called Latinos and Native Americans. Right? And then they came over to the west coasts of Africa. Right? And grabbed us up. You see? Put us on cargo slave ships, right? Packed us in like sardines, defecating on ourselves and all this other madness, man. Okay? You see? Throwing him off the boats, right? Killing Jake, throwing Jake off the boat, letting sharks eat him and kill him and doing all this other stuff like that, man. You see? All right? Okay? You see, so you devils, man, you got a lot to pay for, man. You so-called white people, I'm just going to tell you right here, I'm just going to tell you straight like it is in plain. You so-called white people, you got a lot to pay for. You Edomites, because that's your true biblical nationality. You're not white. You're red. You're Adawam. Okay? Wasted away is he. Ashashua. Wasted away is he. You are a full, clean leopard. Okay? Your blood shows forth through your skin. That's who you are. All right? You see, you are the Edomites. That is your biblical nationality, devils. All right? You see? So, you know what? Where we at with it? It says, by reason of definite break in world history, scale, duration, systematic nature, brutality, and enduring consequences that continue to structure the lives of all people through rationalized regimes of labor, property, and capital. So that's all I needed to read. I didn't want to read, that whole article, man. You know, let's go into here, right? Reparation. This is in the online etymology dictionary. Okay, it says repair, act of mending. All right, it says also amends, compensation, recompense, satisfaction for injury which is done to repair a wrong. Okay, it says the act of repairing, restoration, noun of action from past principle, stem or reparee, right? Restore or repair, right? So let's go here. Now, first of all reparation is going to come when the kingdom, when Yahweh Shai comes back and he set up here the kingdom of heaven here on earth. You see, that's that's going to be the reparation. You see, we're not worried about some damn fiat currency money, some paper dollar bills, which is going to turn into CBDC currencies, and this kingdom is going to be destroyed anyway. We're not worried about that. We don't foresee that in the future to come. But what we see in our future to come is that all you nations, right, you're going to be slaves in the kingdom under the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And you are going to serve us. Esau, Edom, you're going to serve your 1,000 years of slavery, and then you're going to be Obadiah 1:18. That is your future, my man. All right, it's going to be a futile, right, or a feudal a kingdom, man. You see? All right? Because the rest of you nations, you're gonna go back. You're gonna save your homeland, but you're gonna go back into your part of into your lands. But you're gonna what? You're still gonna serve us. Okay. You see. All right. So first and foremost, let's go here. And what we want is sovereignty. That's what we want. We want sovereignty, right? Sovereignty meaning preeminence, excellence, superiority. Okay. Authority, rule. Supremacy of power or rank. You see? It says the meaning of existing or independent state. The general sense of state character or being in power. Sovereignness, right? Seems to be disused. Okay, but sovereignty. That's what it is. Great, it says in sovereignty. It says a person's of great superior, supreme, having supreme power, right? Sovereign. Highest, supreme, okay, chief, you see, potent in high degree. All right, and that's what we are looking for, because that's what's coming to us. You see, because let me get this here. All right, let me get this here in Proverbs, right? Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And the people are in mourning. But the people are going to rejoice when the Israelites are in rulership. When the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are in rulership. You see? And we're just waiting on Esau, Edom's kingdom to go down. And his kingdom is going to go down. Right? Let's get that in 2nd Ezra. Right? 2nd Ezra 6. Chapter 6. And let's start at verse number 6. Okay, it says, then that I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times, or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world. He's the end of a rulership, an end of an age. All right? And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So our kingdom is coming. And our kingdom is going to be an eternal kingdom. Why I say that? Because let's go here. Daniel, right? Daniel 2, and let's go to 44. Okay? Daniel 2 and 44. And this is the reason why I say this is going to be our reparation. Okay? Daniel 2 and verse number 44. You see this up had the divine kingdom. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the the power of heaven, Yahweh of heaven, right? Set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, right? Our kingdom is going to be for eternity, okay? An eternal rulership. And the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. You see, and it shall stand forever. Now, let's go over here to Daniel, the 7th chapter. All right, Daniel, the 7th chapter, and let's jump down to the 18th verse. Okay? Jump down to the 18th verse. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Now, let's jump down to verse number 22. It says, until the Ancient of Days, that's Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. The saints are Israelites. Starting with the 144,000, the first fruits are going to possess the kingdom first and foremost, right? With the multitude that's coming with the 144,000. And then, right after 2/3 of our people be destroyed here on this side, because they're all going to be destroyed, right? Then thus Romans the 11th chapter, the 26th verse, then shall all Israel be saved, because there's going to be reincarnation. They're going to come back through the men of the Lord, right? And they're going to inherit their reparation, in which the reparation is going to be rest in the kingdom. You see, and the rule over our oppressors who have oppressed us. You see, you understand where I'm going with it? Okay. All right. So let's continue on, right? So let's do this here. All right. Let's go to Sirach. All right. Let's go to Sirach. Let's go to Sirach, the 10th chapter. Or Ecclesiastes. Oh, no, Sirach right there. The 10th chapter, which is Ecclesiastes. The 10th chapter in the 8th verse. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Right, and the kingdom is going to be translated from one people to another. It's going to be translated to us. All right? We are going to be the rulers in the kingdom to come. The house of David, the tabernacles of David will be set up here on earth. Righteousness will be set up here on earth. Okay? We will have the law, statutes, and commandments written within our inward parts, meaning our mind. That's when we will be in the second covenant. When we get the changing of our bodies and our mind. First and foremost, starting with the deliverance coming of by via chariots and via Yahweh Shai when he comes back. Okay? You see? Right? And then everything is going to be put back in its proper perspective. See? Because these devils have swallowed down riches, but they're going to vomit it back up. All right? Okay? They're going to vomit it back up. Now, let's go here. All right? In Job. You see? Job, the 20th chapter. Okay? And let's start here. Let's start at the 3rd verse. I have heard the check of my reproach, and the spirit of my understanding causeth me to answer. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? You see? Okay? It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung, right? Like when you go take a shit and you flush it down the toilet, it's no longer being seen. That's how this man is going to be. He's no longer going to be in rulership, because why? We are going to be in rulership. Okay? It's going to be the planet of the Jakes. Okay? All right? It says, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? And he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more. And that's when we're going to get rid of you devils after your 1,000 years of slavery. You're going to be Obadiah 1:18. This is going to be our reparation, man. All right? To take rulership over the other nations. All right? Over the other 17 nations is going to be a reparation given to us, starting with our big brother first, who's going to be the first slave master, Yahweh Shai. All right? And for us enduring to the end, we're going to inherit what Yahweh shall inherit. You see? You understand where I'm going with it? All right? It says, the eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. You see? It says, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lay down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, it says, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Yea, his meat and his bowels is turned, and it is a gall of asp within him. It says, and he have swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again, and Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly. You see? Okay? All right? Okay? And then furthermore, right? Because our rest is going to come. You see? Our rest is going to come. All right? We're gonna have rest in the kingdom to come. All right? But first of all, let me get this here in Second Ezra. Let's go to Second Ezra real quick. Second Ezra, the 8th chapter. The 8th chapter, in the first verse. It says, and he answered me, saying, the Most High, Yahweh, have made this world for many, but the world to come for few. And I just read about the world to come for few. It's the kingdom for the Israelites. You see? All you nations are going to be in the kingdom, but our kingdom is going to be a very vast kingdom, and there's going to be righteousness upon it. And we're going to have the law, statutes, and commandments written in our inward parts. Everything is going to be in righteousness. Okay? And we're going to have rest. You see, we're going to have rest. We're going to get everything that Yahweh Shai, right? Let me get Psalm real quick. Psalm, the second chapter. And let's go down to the 6th verse. It says, yet I have set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thy inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and thou shalt dash them into pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O you kings, and be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord Yahweh with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son. You see that? Kiss the Son. Lest he be angry and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Okay? You see? So we're going to inherit these things. We're going to be gods on the earth. Let me get Psalm, the 82nd chapter. Psalm, the 82nd chapter, in the 6th verse. Psalm, the 82nd chapter, the 6th verse. I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. You see that? All right? Okay? Let's jump down. Let's read it all. It says, but ye shall die like men. And that's what's going on now to us. Right? But we're gonna inherit those beautiful bodies, man. Okay? Lord willing, I may be a part of that hopeful elect, man. Get to see that salvation, man. Get to see the deliverance. Get a brand new body, man. All right? And fall like one of the princesses. Arise, O Yahweh, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. You see? Okay? All right? So now, let's go here. Right? Let's go to the Hebrews, the 4th chapter. The book of Hebrews. Hebrews, the 4th chapter. Right? And as you can see, the believers rest. Right? It says, let's start at verse 1. Ain't nothing but it's nothing but 16 verses. We'll read it all. Right? It says, let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. Who's the one? The 2/3. It was preached to them, but they didn't want to take heed to it. It says, but the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith, because they don't have no faith. They're faithless. 2/3 of our people are faithless here on this side. Okay? It says, in them that heard it, It says and that's why there's 144,000. That's why there's a remnant left behind. You see, who's going to inherit the kingdom first. All right, like I said, we're going to get our reparations when the kingdom is set up here on earth. That's going to be our reparations, not some damn fiat currency, paper dollars, not some damn CBDCs that they're trying to turn into programmable money and give everybody a universal basic income. The hell kind of madness is that? That's madness. Okay? We're going to inherit people. Okay? That's what's going to go on. That's what's going to happen. That's the reparation. You see? You brothers should smile from ear to ear hearing that, all right? We're going to have sovereignty. Okay? Preeminence. All right? You see? Our kingdom is going to be a forever eternal kingdom. You see? All right? It says, where we at? Verse 3, it says, For we have believed, do enter into rest, and the elect is the ones that believe. Right? As he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world, but he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, and Yahweh did rest the seventh day. Yahweh did rest the seventh day from his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, right? Because guess what? Israel is going to be inherited again by who? The Israelites. Right? Yasha Allah. You see? When them gutter rats is destroyed out of our land, a lot of them, they're going into slavery. They're going to be the first fruits of slavery. All right? The super elite banking families, a lot of them gutter rats, so they're going to be the first fruits of slavery. Okay? All right? And our land it's going to be destroyed. Israel's going to be destroyed, right? But it's going to be rebuilt back up. And we're going back into our land. All right? You see? It says, and in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remaineth the same, remaineth that some must enter therein. And they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief. Again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said today, if you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Harden not your mind, man. And a lot of our people got a hardened mind. They're stiff and necked, hard-headed people. All right? And that's why they're going to be destroyed here on this side. You see? Because they don't believe in Yahweh Shai, don't have no faith in Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, and that's why they're going to be destroyed. But they believe in all these false idols and all these false gods. You see? Instead of giving reverence to the Heavenly Father, who is the true and only, who is the everlasting, who is the omnipotent, who exists. All right? You see that? Right? It says, where we at? It says, for if Yahweh Shai had given them rest, they would not afterward have spoken of another day. It says, there remaineth therefore a rest to the people of Yahweh. And I read to you that in Daniel the 2nd chapter, the 44th verse, Daniel the 7th chapter, the 18th verse, and the 22nd verse. Okay? It says, for he that is entered into his rest, he also have ceased from his own works, as Yahweh did from his. You see? It says, let us labor, therefore, to enter into his rest. And that's why you see the brothers out there on the highways and byways, bro. Right? Making their body a living sacrifice. Shalaki, a living sacrifice. It says, least any man fall after the same example of unbelief. For the word of Yahweh is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of spirit, soul, and spirit, and as the joints of marrow, and a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. All right? It says, neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Seeing then that we have a great high priest, the high priest is Yahweh Shai, right? That is passed into the heavens, Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Most High Yahweh, right? Let us hold fast our profession. For we have, it says, for we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. You see that? Okay. All right. All right. So let's go here to the book of Revelation. Right. Matter of fact, let's go to Romans real quick. Romans, the 8th chapter, because I had made the scripture made a statement, right, in Psalm, the 2nd chapter, where it says, Yahweh Shai, right? We're going to inherit what Yahweh Shai get. You see? Well, let's go to Romans, the 8th chapter, right? And let's go down to the 16th verse. All right? Okay? Matter of fact, let's start at the 15th verse. It says, for ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. And if children, then heirs, heirs of Yahweh, and joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, the Hamashiach. Right? It says, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. Okay? It says, for I have reckoned that the sufferings of the present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. And that's going to be the kingdom. You see? Right? Because we have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. We have the unleavened bread. We have the living water. We are teaching right now. And then Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, is going to come alive. You see? Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, will come alive. Okay? Because of the new covenant that we're going to be in. You see? All right, because we're not in the new covenant right now. If you teaching that man to say we're in the new covenant, you going the hell off. All right, we're not in the new covenant. See, we haven't been saved from impending danger. That's what salvation means, to be saved from impending danger. Okay, you got these damn Christians out here talking about they saved. What are you saved from? You ain't being saved. First of all, you don't even know you're not even part of the elect. Okay, you're not a part of the hopeful elect. All right? You see? Anyway, it says, verse 19, it says, for the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God, right? The sons of Yahweh. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Yahweh. Right? Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. It says, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit. Okay. You see, the first fruits of the Spirit. Even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. It says, for we are saved by hope. Right? Because hope and faith are synonymous. They're the same word. Hope and faith. All right? Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Okay? For we are saved by hope. Verse 24. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doeth he yet hope for? Verse number 25. But if we hope for that we see not, then do we, with patience, wait for it. And that's what we're doing. We're waiting for our big brother Yahweh Shai to return. We're waiting for the kingdom to come. We're waiting for the true reparations to occur. You see that? All right? And if we endure until the end, right, guess what we're going to get? Because, hey, first of all, because you the ones that led us into captivity, right? You see? You led us into captivity. Let's get this here. Let me get Revelation 13 real quick, 13 and 10. And then we're going to get Revelation 2, right? Let's get 13 and 10. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and all of you nations are going into captivity, especially Esau, Edom. Especially Esau, Edom. You are going into hard bondage, my man. Hard bondage. Okay? You devils ain't gonna get away with nothing that you have done to Jacob, man. To Yaakov, man. You're not gonna get away with nothing that you have done. All right? You see? It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of his saints. All right? So let me get this here. If we endure to the end, right? You see, Yahweh Shai is going to do this for us. Revelation 2 and verse number 26. And verse number 26. Okay? This is our reparations to come. All right? Let's start at verse 25. It says, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And that's this truth, this wisdom, this knowledge, and this understanding. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter, of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I read to you that in Psalms, the 2nd chapter, right? And I will give him the morning star. You see that? And he that haveth the ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Okay? All right? See that? Okay, let me get this here. Let me get Revelation. Matter of fact, let me get Psalm 137 real quick. Matter of fact, hold on. Before I do that, let me get Obadiah 1 real quick. Let's get Obadiah 1. And then we'll go get that Psalm. Let me get Obadiah 1 and verse number 10. All right, it says this, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces and foreigners entered into his gate and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. But thou shalt not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger, and neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, and neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, and nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. And neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, and neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. You see that, right? And and even that goes back to even the times of the Babylonian captivity, right? You see, when they say, "Oh, Jake is over there," he grab him up, go and get him. He's over there. That's what you damn Edomites did, man. You see that, right? And then you had some nerve to get up with the Arabs, right? Them so-called Arabs, you Ishmaelites, right? And you forged the plant, the sub-Sahara slave trade, right? And then you had the transatlantic slave trade. You had some nerve to teach them Edomites how to come over here and ship us off on cargo slave ship. All you nations is going into slavery, man. That's going to be our reparation. We're gonna inherit people. Okay, we're gonna inherit you. You see that? All right. It says, all right. I think that's it on that. That's all I needed on that. Matter of fact, you know what? Nah. Let's go down here and read some more. It says, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be a holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. And this is going to be when your captivity is over, Esau. All right, you're going to be burnt up. We're going to gather you up into a pit, and you are going to be destroyed, my man. All right. It says, in Joseph a flame, in the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh have spoken it. Okay? And we're going to take over your land. All right? Now, let's go get Psalm, right? Psalm 137. Okay? Psalm 137, and let's go to verse number 8. Actually, let's start at verse number 7. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 6. It says, if I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. And right, your kingdom is going to be destroyed, Esau. O daughter of Babylon, right? Your kingdom will be destroyed. Okay, we're just talking about aka America. Okay, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us, and happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Okay, simple and plain, right? And you first fruits, you Edomites are going to be the first fruits. Talk about the super elite. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, right? You're going to be the first fruits of slavery. All right, let's go there. Let's go to Psalm 149. All right, Psalm 149 and let's start at verse number 1. Let's get all this meat. It says, praise ye the Lord Yahweh, sing unto the Lord Yahweh a new song and his praise. And that's what we're doing right now. That's what the brothers around the four corners of the earth is doing. That's what our elders and our apostles is doing, and the bishops and the teachers. And that's what they're doing, teaching the correct doctrine. You see? And my elders and my apostles being a great millstone, being apostle to her all the way down. Okay? It says, and praise ye the Lord Yahweh, sing unto the Lord Yahweh a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. The saints are Israelites. It says, let Israel rejoice in him that made him, and let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Okay? Because Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, he's the top king. All right? Then Yahweh, there's an order. Then Yahweh Shai and King David is going to be the earthly king. Okay? It says, let them praise his name in the dance, and let them sing praises unto him, right? With the timbrel and harp. Okay? It's because all Israel is going to be kings and priests on the earth. You see? But King David is going to be the second in command king unto Yahushai. All right. It says, for the Lord taketh pleasure in his people, and he beautify the meek with salvation. And let the saints be joyful in their glory, and let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. Hey, that's going to be physical too. To execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with feathers of iron. You're going to be shackled up. You are going to be shackled up. Okay? Okay, it says, and to execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh. All right. Okay, now let me get my last scripture in Revelation 21. All right, Revelation 21. You see, and as you can see, the new heaven and new earth, you see the title right there. Okay. Revelation 21, and we'll start at verse number 1. It's only 27 verses, right? It says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, a new rulership, right? And a refreshed earth, okay? Because this one is going to be burnt up by ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, all right? Okay? It says, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed. That's passed away, and there was no more sea, right? You saw Edom's kingdom, gone, passed away, done, through, all right? And John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, and that's talking about the elect coming down out of them chariots, man, all right? Coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh, right, himself shall be with them, and be their power. And Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. You see that? So we don't want no damn reparations. The tears is going to be wiped away from our eyes when we rule over our oppressors who have oppressed us. You see that? And we shall rule over our oppressors, okay, who have oppressed us. And all of you nations have oppressed us. You have came together and you have been confederate against it. Psalms, the 83rd chapter, speaks about it, man. Read it, okay? And Yahweh shall wipe away all their tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, right? Because there ain't going to be no more death. Okay, and neither sorrow nor crying, and neither shall there be any more pain, for their former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. You see, refreshed, kainos, refreshed. You see, because the earth is going to have a refresh button. The earth is going to abide forever. It's just America is going to be destroyed. All right, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed. Israel is going to be destroyed, but it's going to be rebuilt back up. Okay. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai are faithful and true. There's not one lie in it. Numbers, the 23rd chapter, the 19th verse. You see that? Isaiah, the 55th chapter, in the 11th verse. Right? Isaiah 46 and 10. See that? Okay. And he said unto me, It is done. I am the Alpha and Omega. That's Yahweh Shai. It says the beginning and the end, and I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the living water of life freely. It says, and he that overcometh shall inherit all things. And that's right, we're going to inherit all things. And this is going to be our reparation. And I will be his power, and he shall be my son. You see, just as Yahweh Shai, right? Just as we're gonna get what Yahweh Shai got. Right? I read to you that in Romans the 8th chapter. Okay, it says, but to the fearful and unbelieving, and to the abominable, and to the murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire. And that's right. And they're going to burn over here in Babylon the Great. That's going to be the lake of fire, thermonuclear missiles, and the concentrated fire dropping down from the chariots. All right. You see, this place is going to be engulfed in fire. That's what it's going to be. It says, which burneth with fire and brimstone. That's the missiles, which is the second death. All right. And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. That's Israel, right? Because we're married unto, we got to go to, in order for us to get back to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai came and he died on the cross for us, starting with the first fruits, the elect, right? But he died for all Israel, but the first fruits are going to be delivered out of here, which is 144,000. Okay? So you understand, all right? It says the New Jerusalem, okay? And he carried me away into the spirit to a great and high mountain, right? And showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from, and that's talking about the Israelites, right? The elect coming down. Right? Because Jerusalem is a people before a place. You see? We are a people before a place first. Understand? Descending out of the heaven from Yahweh. Right? Having the glory of Yahweh. And her light was like unto, we talk about the her, it's talking about Israel. It says, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear and crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates. Talk about the kingdom, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. right, which are the sons of Israel. On the east, 3 gates. On the north, 3 gates. And on the south, 3 gates. And on the west, 3 gates. And it says, and the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. You see that? It says, and he that talked with me had a gold reed to measure the city and the gates thereof and the walls thereof. And the city lieth four square, and the length is large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed. You see, it says 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth of the height of the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof in 140 and 4 cubits, according to the measure of a man that is of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was jasper, and the city was pure gold, like a clear glass. And the foundations of the wall, you can read about this in Tobit as well. It says that the wall and the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was of jasper, and the second sapphire, and the third, chalcedon, and fourth as a fourth emerald, and the fifth, sadoxin, and the sixth sadoris, and the seventh crystalite, and the eighth beryl, and the ninth topaz, and the 10th chrysophartis, and the 11th adjacent, and the 12th amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, even several gate was of one pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it was a transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for the Lord Yahweh Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. You see, because our power is going to be with us, man. You see what I'm saying? We're going to have the light shining down. The light is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. That's why our inward part is going to be the law, statutes, and commandments. We're going to have the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. And we're going to rule the kingdom in righteousness. It says, and the city had no need for the sun, right? Because is that really saying that the sun and the moon is not going to be there? No, the sun and the moon is always going to be here. It abideth forever. But this is talking about the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? We're going to shine in the kingdom. Our countenances is going to be bright in the kingdom. You see? It says, and neither the moon to shine in it, for the glory of Yahweh did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. All right? And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, right? Because we're going to be, you're going to serve us, you're going to serve our power, you're going to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Talking about you other nations. It says, for there shall be no night there, and they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And there shall in no wise enter into anything that defileth, and neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. All right, so with that, we're going to give all praises and glory and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Marakah Quadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of Ruel. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect, the Bayat Dawadah, the house of David. Kwam Yasha Allah, Abba Ball, Shalom.